Hello everyone, let's review the results of March's 3-card blind main event tournament. This month we had 214 participants, 26 of which were brand new players to this event. Regardless of whether you were a new player or a long-standing member of this community, thank you to those of you who participated. Your involvement helps keep this format and community as bright and exciting as it is. Among the 214 decks that were submitted this month, there were 158 unique decks. If we weigh cards in these decks by their performance and run them through the Simpsons Diversity Index, you will see that this was the most diverse meta we've ever seen in the history of this event. As a matter of fact, this will be the very first time you hear me say this, but the 3-card blind diversity grade for this month was an A-. The most popular card this month was Ancient Tomb, which at this point is par for the course. It is possibly the single most significant mana source in the format, and it supports a variety of different types of decks. The second most popular card was Lotus Bloom, and a significant driver for its popularity might be that in the prior month we banned Barren Glory. Barren Glory was the default payoff for Lotus Bloom, and it seems that many players were eager to see if they could brew up a suitable alternative that could share in the same level of success that we had seen Barren Glory have in the past. As you can probably guess from Lotus Bloom's win rate, we saw very mixed levels of success across all of the different experimental decks that people were trying. To be clear, there were decks that successfully leveraged Lotus Bloom, but we'll get to those when we cover our winners for this month. The most popular non-mana source threat this month was Phyrexian Revoker. If we count manlands, this would of course go to Mutavault, which is a staple of the format that supports many different decks. Phyrexian Revoker continues to be popular because it is simply one of the best cards that you can cast off of Ancient Tomb. Because Moxes are so popular in 3-card blind, Phyrexian Revoker will often find itself as a card that simply wins the game because you play it on turn 1 and your opponent isn't able to deploy their strategy. Tied with the stock Unstoppable Slasher list, Ancient Tomb, Phyrexian Revoker, and Porcelain Legionnaire was the most popular deck this month. Although it didn't win any pods, it was exciting to see this new list make a significant impact on the meta. Now let's move on to congratulating our winners for this month. In Novice 1, our winner was Big Geek, who was playing Assassin's Trophy, Golgari Rot Farm, and Treetop Village. This deck has quickly become a consistent winner. Treetop Village is a little harder to interact with than a typical threat, and Assassin's Trophy is a solution to almost any problem your opponent can present. In Aspirant 3, our winner was Boat, who was playing Angel of Sanctions, Fountain of Cho, and Temporary Lockdown. Angel of Sanctions is a repeat offender in the 3-card blind format as simply one of the strongest cards you can cast off of a storage land. It's resilient to removal and hand attack, and the card itself functions as an evasive threat and a form of removal. Its major weakness is that it can't be deployed early on in the game, so faster decks have the ability to wipe you out before you can actually deploy it. Temporary Lockdown was an interesting solution to this problem. In Aspirant 2, our winner was Uni G, who was playing Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, Lotus Bloom, and Show and Tell. This was one of the Lotus Bloom variants that we saw this month that actually did perform well. It turns out that cheating out the scariest creature in the game is a recipe for success. In Aspirant 1, our winner was Slyn Voda, who was playing Dreams of Steel and Oil, Scythe Tiger, and Undiscovered Paradise. Kamatana also took this deck to a pod win in Contender 4. With the growing list of cards that we have banned that attack the opponent's hand on turn 1, Dreams of Steel and Oil might be the strongest one remaining. The importance of its ability to pull artifacts out of your opponent's hand can't be overstated. Moxes are a critical and common mana source, so being able to remove a Mox from your opponent's hand can cripple their deck before they even get to start playing the game. The reason that this deck is choosing to rely on Scythe Tiger as its own threat is because many 3-card blind decks divide their cards into a mana source, a creature, and a form of removal. Dreams of Steel and Oil lets the deck deal with the creature component, and because Scythe Tiger has Shroud, it can play through any removal spell your opponent still has remaining in their hand. In Contender 3, we saw a tie between a Blacker Lotus and the Deer Lord, who were more or less playing exactly the same deck. A Blacker Lotus was playing Mox Sapphire, Mutavault, and Sphere of Resistance, and the Deer Lord was playing the same deck but with a Mox Ruby instead of Mox Sapphire. This deck's performance and the fact that it continues to win pods is an incredible demonstration how big of an impact stapling on a single 1 to the end of a cost of cards can have on the performance of decks that contain them. In Contender 2, our winner was Stonebrow, who was also playing the Assassin's Trophy, Golgari Rot Farm, and Treetop Village deck. I think this helps demonstrate that this deck was consistently powerful at multiple levels of play. In Contender 1, our winner was Aurora Veil, who was playing Angel of Sanctions, Fountain of Cho, and Maze of Ith. Maze of Ith can generally slow down the game for long enough for you to stick your Angel of Sanctions on the board. It also limits the number of vulnerabilities that the deck has. In games where your opponent has a way to turn off Fountain of Cho with something like Seize Claim, Maze of Ith gives you at least the potential to secure a tie against those sorts of decks. And finally, our winner in Exemplar was Vermilion, formerly known as Agender Apricot, who was playing Karakas, Leyline of Singularity, and Student of Warfare. This deck is nothing new for the format. In fact, it kind of resonates as an iconic 3-card blind deck. Leyline of Singularity offers some protection against go-wide token strategies. The synergy between Karakas and Leyline of Singularity lets you bounce creatures repeatedly, and Student of Warfare is a scaling threat that can grow to overpower other creatures in a similar weight class as it. And this deck has ultimately brought Vermilion to becoming champion for the 4th time, which is a truly outrageous accomplishment. And with that, I'd like to congratulate our winners one more time, and move on to discussing the cards that will be included in this month's community band vote. Before we get started here, I wanted to acknowledge that because this meta was incredibly healthy and the most diverse we've ever seen, selecting the cards that would be included in this vote was simply to provide you with options for how you would like to steer the format moving forwards, even if there are no pressing balance issues. Bans in this format are about regulating the power level of the format, but they are also about keeping the format fresh and exciting. You can think of this as an opportunity to rotate cards out as opposed to send them away forever. The first card on the list this month is Leyline of Singularity. Thanks to its unique and powerful synergy with Karakas, we have seen this combination be a core staple of 3-card blind for many months now. It wasn't nearly as overwhelming as it was in the prior month, where it was able to rely on Basri, which is just an incredibly powerful 1-drop. But even with extremely tame 1-drops, it tends to just pick up wins because being able to bounce creatures over and over is very powerful. Next up we have Scythe Tiger, which is the most popular 1-drop this month, and it performed very well, claiming 2 pod wins. If I'm being fully transparent though, this is the most fair 1-drop we have ever included on this vote. Scythe Tiger can't beat a Grizzly Bears unassisted. However, it keeps winning and it's becoming more and more popular, so it made sense to include it on this vote. Next up we have Assassin's Trophy, which has put up some very strong performances in recent months in combination with Golgari Rot Farm and Treetop Village. There are plenty of other cards that Treetop Village could be paired with, and we're not seeing them because Destroy Any Permanent just tends to be better than most of them. Next up we have Angel of Sanctions, which is significant in the 3-card blind format because it is the most flexible of the storage land payoffs. Because of its Embalm effect, it's resistant to many forms of removal and hand attack, and the card itself is removal, making it a solution to almost any problem that you might face. There are still other very strong storage land payoffs out there. Living Conundrum is one of the first ones that comes to mind, but very few of them have managed to have the same kind of repeat high-level performance that Angel of Sanctions has had. And the final card to wrap up our list is Phyrexian Revoker. It didn't win any pods this month, but it has been a strong performer for a long time now. Its weakness in matches where it doesn't do anything is made up for by the fact that it can turn off your opponent's non-land mana sources. With Moxes being a core part of the format, and Lotus Bloom being the second most popular card this month, it's easy to see why so many players gravitated towards using Phyrexian Revoker. And that wraps up our list of cards for this month's ban vote. Don't forget you can cast your vote by visiting the website that's linked in the description of this video. And as a reminder, and possibly something that could inform how you might want to vote, Dragonstorm Tarkir will be legal in the next 3-card blind main event beginning in April. So be sure to keep your eyes out on those spoilers to see if anything new is coming to the format that will make waves. Thanks for watching everyone, and see you soon.